Well, thanks for agreeing to help us with sharing some of your experiences for, the C3 Summit. And I wonder if we might start, if you could give the audience just a little bit of a background on FlexGate and kind of products that you produce and who you produce them for. That would be a good place to start.
Yeah, FlexGate is a global OEM that we have about 70 locations throughout the US, Canada, Mexico, and Europe. We have a little presence in Asia, but we have I think 8 design centers, and the products that we produce are anywhere from fascias to bumpers to floor pans. I guess we actually really produce everything except the drivetrain. We don't do the actual engines, transmissions, but everything else we do. We do brake systems, not at the wheel, but the brake pedal assemblies and things like that. So we do a big broad gamut of parts.
So I would imagine a lot of tool and die work involved in a lot of the programs that you're involved in, it sounds like.
Yes, for sure. There's the tool and die work is generally done outside of our company. That is something that we purchase from tool shops and globally, and some of the OEMs direct you to which tool shops that you're going to buy the tools from. And so we have to work through those issues with collaborating between us and our tool shops before we can actually bring in the tools and start the production process.
So, Mike, could you give the audience a little bit of a description of just kind of the with that sort of spread of plants and design centers, what's the technology like that you use to deal with data coming from your OEM customers?
We use the systems that the OEMs use, and that helps us to collaborate with them. We're our OEMs will have some of them with CATIA and some of them with NX, and we interface to them with those systems directly, and their required PLM solutions that they have. And we pull that down into the design centers, and the different design centers are usually commodity based. We'll have a design center to do mechanical assemblies. We'll have a lighting design center. We'll have a general sheet metal fascia design center type of thing. And we bring all the data in and house it in our servers. And we actually still keep the data simple, where it's just files on an actual shared folder. And then we give people access to that data for the CAD, where they can actually write in there, and then we give access to the same data for people that are using SpinFire, and they can access the data directly and read it in and do what they need to do. But they're in a read-only mode for that, so they can't change any or touch anything in there.
So the value in that case of how SpinFire is used is you're limiting the amount of limiting the need for the number of people that need to have the CAD licenses strictly to design engineering, right?
Yes, exactly. We as everyone knows, the cost of these high-end CAD systems are quite expensive, and it doesn't make sense to give them a full-blown license to use when they can get everything they need right from a viewing tool. And we've tried many viewing tools over the years, and we found that the SpinFire has the real accuracy of displaying what the data really is, and doesn't have much left out. We've been using SpinFire since it was in 2001 I started using SpinFire. So it's been a long time, and we've seen a lot of changes in SpinFire, and it's been a product that grew with us as a company, and we are growing our use of it throughout the company. So a lot more people. It used to be just the program managers would be like the ones that would use SpinFire, and now we're starting to see it on all different business segments. You know, you get purchasing and other segments that are using it.
So have you been able to distribute it, you know, across the company, you know, easily, or how has it been to get some of those edge organizations like purchasing or quality or other places to adopt it? How's that work?
Well, we originally had, you know, back a lot of years ago, we had, you know, standalone licenses, and that was a way to get the people the core people that needed to see the 3D data. We gave them licenses, and then that was starting to become a little bit of a hassle because there was more and more people wanting it. So Actify came out with a licensing model where we had an actual floating license server that shared out a number of licenses, and that allowed us to put the licenses on anybody's computer that we needed. And then, you know, until we ran out of the number of licenses available on our server, that worked well for a lot of years. And most recently, we ended up adopting your enterprise licensing system, which is a step above the standard floating, because it allowed us to put SpinFire in everyone's computer that needs it, and it gave us the ability to not have to be connected to the network. We're no longer linked to that licensed server in our environment. We're linked to the licensing in you know, Actify's cloud, and so what this has done is allowed you know, people that go to tool shops and they're off site, they can have full access to SpinFire without having to communicate back to our company. And there's a lot of cases when people are out on a tool shop floor, they might not have connectivity, or even in OEMs. Some of the OEMs don't allow connectivity while you know, while some of our people are in the facility. So this gives them right on their laptop, they can review any of the data that they need. Obviously, the data would have to be local. And then obviously the pandemic hit, and that new licensing model even added another benefit, because we didn't want everyone to be on the VPN at all the time, 24/7, because our mail isn't required. And so this allowed us to have people have SpinFire access without even being connected to the VPN. So that was a helpful when we had so many work at home users. So that was a kind of a hidden thing that we didn't expect, but you know, sometimes you get those benefits.
So it's nice when they show up that way, isn't it?
Yeah.
So overall, then, has, you know, that enterprise licensing model reduced any of the administrative overhead you normally would experience if you're trying to deploy the product out more broadly?
Oh, for sure. We had, with our old method, we had it set up where we did have some dedicated licenses, and then we had the floating ones, and it was always a hassle to you know, manage those dedicated licenses, because you know, somebody would leave and you'd have to keep track of that. And now it's just, they're all the same, and it's a lot easier to administer. And then we even have a little more level of complication, and we have multiple domains in our organization. And that enterprise licensing model, you guys set it up so it can support multiple domains, because it is linked back to the company's domain. And you know, with a company is like FlexGate that has multiple domains that are in different regions, then that really helped us. So this has made it a lot easier to manage, and it is really nice that it's a global solution. It's not just US or anything like that. It's truly a global solution for us, and that helps us a lot. A lot of companies, like some well-known CAD companies that have been around for a lot of years, they set things up into regions, and then you have to spend extra money to go globally, and that's something that's really held them back from our perspective for doing licensing. Whereas you guys looked at, hey, we're a customer to Actify, and you're going to support us globally, and we give you a reasonable amount of money for that, and we get a great value for it.
Well, that's awesome. I wonder, has the use of a tool like SpinFire been something that's had an impact on your relationship with your OEM customers in any way? Does it play a role there?
Yeah, we do. Not, it's the sales interface to them, and program managers that can do presentations for them with it, and mark up the stuff that they want to discuss, and they don't have to interface with the CAD to do that. And then that's, quite frankly, that kind of work is not value added to the CAD team. They're not adding to the design of it. So it's nice when they can do their own stuff that they need to communicate back to the customer. My background goes where I'm an IT supporting engineering systems for the most part. So I don't interface to the customer too much. We have our engineering teams, and one of the director of design and CAE, I support him heavily, and he would be one to go more towards the customer. I just hear how well it does for showcasing our designs to the customer.
So you mentioned something earlier I'd like to circle back to, which is that you're a full service supplier at least part of the time, if not most of the time, right? You're not just build to print.
Right. We're a full service supplier on many of our commodities that we do. We we do fascias, bumpers, and lighting, and brake pedal assemblies, and all different things like that. And a lot of we add design for manufacturability to a lot of our sheet metal, so that we actually, the OEMs can send you a part that is just really not producible. And with our experienced tooling team, we can come up with solutions for that. And even those guys use SpinFire for it, but it's more on the early end for the tooling side. They use SpinFire to do early quoting, and that by visualizing the parts and in the quoting process.
Well, you mentioned that obviously with a lot of the commodities that you produce, we were talking earlier that tooling is a big issue, not just the design of it, but the production of it, since you're outsourcing at least a fair amount of that. I'm wondering, when something changes, you get a change notice from the OEM of some sort, and that needs to trickle down to those tooling suppliers. Is that something that works smoothly, or is there work that could be done to make that work a little better? And does SpinFire play a role in that?
SpinFire allows the people that are following the program managers to review it, and they can review the new data and see what the changes are, so that they can communicate better to the tool shops. And the tool shops, they have their capabilities of reviewing in that, but we don't like to go in blind. And the program managers use SpinFire a lot to compare what from one version to the next. You can't 100% count on what the OEM said has changed is to be what is only changed. Sometimes there's a lot more that's changed than what they indicated at the front of here's your data, this has changed, and you have to really dig into it deeper than that.
Yeah. Well, Mike, thanks so much. It's really great to see you again, and I'll look forward to getting back to Detroit and grabbing lunch or dinner.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks
right.
thanks for taking the time to connect with us. We appreciate it. Keep up the great work.